Would you be interested in the 3 pieces of advice the world's smartest man shared with his kids before he died? I was. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And that was the title of an article by a gentleman named Peter Burns, who I'm going to be quoting here a little bit. And he was talking about a man named Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking became a top physicist while suffering from a debilitating disease. You know, one of the quotes that Stephen Hawking says is, quote, "Life would be tragic if it weren't funny," unquote. See, at the age of 21, Stephen Hawking was diagnosed with ALS, Lou Gehrig disease, a debilitating disease in which you lose control over your muscles. Given only a few years to live, the future physics genius became severely depressed. His doctors advised him to go on with the studies, but Stephen felt otherwise. In his mind, there was little point in getting out of bed. However, over time, his spirits began to be lifted. Knowing that this was something that he couldn't control, the disease, he launched himself into doing the things that his physical condition still allowed him to do. Quote, "My expectations were reduced to 0 when I was 21. Everything since has been a bonus," unquote. Despite the dire prognosis, life turned out much better than expected for Stephen Hawking. Stephen went on to live to the ripe old age of 76. He passed away on the 14th of March in 2018. While he couldn't do much with his body, his brilliant mind was able to tackle problems that most ordinary mortals couldn't even touch. Stephen Hawking, the scientist, contributed much to understanding how the universe works. But arguably, his greatest message to the rest of humanity was his positivity. Even a debilitating illness didn't stop him. Always remember this lesson from the great thinker. No matter what your circumstances, you can rise above them and become a success. All right, so what about the advice Stephen Hawking gave to his kids? Well, in a 2010 interview with Diane Sawyer, he was asked about the advice that he would give to his children. And his reply was breathtaking. Quote, "Here are the most important pieces of advice that I've passed on to my children. 1. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. 2. Never give up work. Work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. 3. If you're lucky enough to find love, remember it is rare and don't throw it away." All right, let's look at each one of those. First of all, look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Most people go through life just looking at their feet. They forget to stop and look up. However, greats like Stephen Hawking spend a lot less time staring at their shoes and a lot more gazing at the stars. For it's curiosity and wonder that are the keys to creativity. Research has shown that they are at the origin of discoveries, both big and small. Awareness, excitement, and exploration are all essential building blocks of wonder, which in and of itself is important for the process of creation. Do you remember when you were a child and you wondered about this and you were curious about that, and when you found this out, it added some excitement? You know, a lot of times people say to you, grow up. Well, in this particular case, don't grow up. Keep that curiosity going. You've got to take a look up, because if you're looking down at your shoes, all you're seeing is where you've been. And don't you know so many people that you say to yourself, you know what? That guy has already died. He just hasn't received his death certificate yet. People that are in dead-end jobs, people that are on the treadmill, that all they're doing is the same old every day. It's the difference between being curious about something, being excited about something, wanting to achieve something. It's why you get up in the morning every day. The majority of people have no reason to get up in the morning. They don't have a plan, they don't have a burning desire, they don't have an objective. And how fulfilling is their life? It's completely dependent upon the things around them. Is that the way life should be, or should you be the captain of your ship? Should you be the one that's steering the course that you want to go to? Does that make some sense to you? It's critical that you keep your curiosity, and wonder why this is happening or that's happening. I mean, this is what gives life the juice that makes it exciting. Am I right on that? Very simple. All right, the second one. Never give up work. Work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. Well, boy, is there a better poster child for that than Stephen Hawking himself? I mean, here's a man with Lou Gehrig's disease, can't control his muscles, was ready at the age of 21 to just, all right, throw it away, and then said, you know what, screw that. I'm gonna go with what I have. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep working. And how many times do you see people that work with a company for a long period of time, and then they retire, and then very shortly after they give up their fulfilling, meaningful work, they're gone? Or how many times do you see when two people are married to each other for 40 or 50 years, and one of them dies, and then the other one dies within a couple of months or a couple of weeks or even a couple of days? The purpose, having a purpose in life is so critical to extending your life. It gives you a reason. It tells your body parts, hey, I need to keep going. I need to keep going. And I'm not just talking, to people that are my age. I'm talking to people that are in their 20s and 30s as well. Because a lot of times you get the job and then boom, all you're doing is going through the motions. You go through the motions, you've already died. There's no juice, there's no excitement. You gotta have something that makes you want to get up every single morning. There's something that's got to be a primary thought, a primary goal, a primary objective, something to accomplish, some progress. Progress is the elixir of life. You can't give up your work. I recently did a video on one of my college professors, George Bilius, Dr. Bilius, and he died at age 99. I wanted to take a look to see what he thought about what was going on politically. I didn't really expect him to be alive, but I was shocked to see that he only died a couple of years ago. But he was still writing books at the age of 99. Now, this was a guy, when you got into his class, he was so excited. His enthusiasm was so contagious. A lot of times you're sitting in school and you're sitting there and you're waiting and you're looking up at the clock and you're saying, boy, I hope that bell rings pretty soon. I can't wait to get the heck out of here. Not Dr. Bilius's class. When it was time to leave, I was angry. I wanted to stay. I wanted to hear more. This guy was so exciting. Do you have that type of enthusiasm in your life? You've got to have a purpose. You've got to have that enthusiasm. You've got to keep working. You've got to keep having objectives. The third part that we talked about, that he talked about, was 3, if you're lucky enough to find love, remember it's rare and don't throw it away. At his eulogy, one of his sons gave one of his quotes. Here it is. It speaks for itself. It would not be much of a universe if it wasn't home to the people you love. Unquote. I'm in the final third of my lifetime, and my relationship with Eli, my son, whom I love, is more important to me now than ever. I recognize that at his stage of life, being a teenager, that he wants to go out and do other things, not hang around with the old fogies. All right? I mean, that's always been kind of the paradox of life. When little kids are, you know, all they want is the attention of their parents, and then they grow up, and the parents, all they want is the attention of their kids. It doesn't seem fair, does it? You know? But it's not much of a universe if it's not home to the people that you love. So keep those three things in mind. And because we're never going to end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.